Hello and welcome to today's video, and I am so excited about today's video because we have a massive transit that is happening tomorrow, March the 23rd, which is Pluto entering into Aquarius. We just had a new moon in Aries yesterday at 0 degrees, which is all about new beginnings and fresh starts. And then we also just had the spring equinox, which was also about new beginnings and very much about the rebirth of life and basically the beginning of the astrological year. So with all of this happening 3 days back to back, this is such epic energy this week that it is truly life-changing and transformative, and I really wanted to just talk about Pluto and Aquarius a little bit so that you guys can understand what this actually really means for us on an individual personal level, but also on a collective level, how this is going to be affecting you. It is already affecting you and you are already feeling it. We all are. And the other thing we need to know about Pluto in Aquarius is that this has not happened. Pluto hasn't been in Aquarius in a really long time, so not in any of our lifetimes since humanity currently on the planet. So like I said, this is a huge deal. This is energy that is impacting every single soul on this planet, and it's going to impact us in very significant ways. So with all of this new energy and new beginning energy, and fresh starts and all of that being in play, Pluto is going to kind of come in and help establish that fresh start for us over the coming months and years for sure. Pluto is the planet of death, destruction, and rebirth. So there are going to be so many things, which again, I'm sure you've already noticed, things that are just dying, falling apart in your life. Relationships, connections, habits, lifestyle, personal, internal turmoil. There's so much that Pluto is dismantling within us and within the collective at this time that it is really, truly mind-blowing. It is an opportunity for us to completely revamp ourselves, revamp all of those parts of ourselves that we have been attached to, that we have been accustomed to and used to being. All of the ways that we have self-sabotaged and have, really not supported ourselves. So Pluto is just going to come in and kind of start blowing that shit apart because it's so integral. It is so important that we realize what is not working for us. And like I said, we've already been going through this transition and this process of realizing what is not working for us, both individually and collectively. The purge, like I personally have been purging for the last 3 years consistently because I've been feeling this energy already amping up in a huge way. And then now there's still residual stuff that's still left for me to purge. There are still things that I know and I feel within myself that need changing, that need shifting, that need improvement. And this is going to continue pushing me to do that. So it's going to continue to push you as well to keep changing, keep molding, keep shifting things that are just not quite the way that you want them to be. So let's talk about Aquarius here for a second. What is the sign of Aquarius? Is an air sign, so it rules the mind. The air element rules the mind, thinking, thoughts. So it rules technology, it rules innovation, internet, and the collective. So Aquarius also represents humanity as a whole, as a collective. So there are going to be major scientific, medical, technological discoveries coming in the coming years. There's also going to be space exploration, a massive breakdown of outdated systems. I've been actually talking about this for years. been trying to tell people for years that like things are going to shift significantly for us, for humanity as a whole, which impacts you just as much as it impacts me on a daily basis. There are going to be structures of power that are unjust and don't serve the collective anymore, also breaking apart and falling away. Think of Pluto as your cosmic compost bin, and it just wants to take everything in that is no longer working, that isn't standing on stable ground, and anything that is not in balance and in harmony, it is going to start to take all of that stuff and just put it into its little compost bin and say, nope, we're just going to recycle, transform, transmute these energies and allow humanity some fresh energy and fresh fertile soil to plant fresh new seeds. So, and of course we're doing these with the mind. Pluto also destroys what no longer serves us to create space for rebirth and new beginnings. So its influence and its impact is very much like a phoenix rising out of the ashes. That's the kind of feeling, again, that we're going to be having collectively and individually. Like I said, I have already been feeling this personally, and I have already been going through this transition of this phoenix rising. There has been an immense amount of emotional purging that I have been doing over the last 3 years. Huge, like inner child healing and family, actually roots. My root chakra has been definitely something that I've been really working on, and noticing that area of my body needing an immense amount of just attention and support to help myself heal things within my family structures that have been out of balance. This has to do with my upbringing, the way I was raised, the concepts that were taught to me, the ideas that were planted in my mind, the belief systems that were planted in my mind from a young age, especially around stability, especially around finances and money and survival. So there has been such an upheaval within me that I have already been processing. Like I said, for the last 3 years, this has been really difficult, but very worth it. I really genuinely feel, and I see and I notice within myself of how far I've actually come, because I have been willing to do the work, because I have been doing the work of really self-assessing and just being really raw and honest with myself about where I felt out of balance within myself, within my emotions, within my mind and my thoughts, and how I have been thinking, within my heart, and how much burden and how much heaviness or perhaps grudges or resentment or whatever I was, still holding within my heart space. And I have been slowly but surely peeling away those layers, right? Because energy always works in layers. And so I've been unpacking all of this energy for quite some time now. And I have really arrived at a place within myself where I feel this newfound stability. I feel this, it's like my foundation has been rebuilt in a sense. And that is something, again, that you also may be experiencing. And I know just from coaching other people that many of us have actually been going through a massive purging process, particularly when it comes to family, particularly when it comes to imbalances within their life, particularly when it comes to work and just how we exist and the lifestyle that we live, on a day-to-day basis. There has been, I see it out in the world. I see it within myself. I see it within my family, of how we're all shifting. And when it comes to healing and when it comes to shifting and this tremendous amount of healing energy that actually Pluto in Aquarius is really bringing us, it's like I'm recognizing how healing truly has layers to it. So, you know, I may have been going through my own personal process in the last 3 years, and I'm at now, you know, at a certain level with that healing. I still have work to do and I still have a ways to go, but it's like I've reached a certain area or a certain level where you may be on a completely different level, and perhaps you have, you know, completely different things that you need to heal within yourself. So I think with this energy tomorrow fully present, and I mean the energy's been present here for quite some time, but with it actually moving physically into Aquarius, with Pluto making this big move, it is most certainly going to elevate and bring out certain feelings within you that are really going to be rebellious in nature. There's just going to be this sort of backlash, and I can see it sometimes out in the world too. When I actually catch a glimpse of news, then I see it out in the world as well, of how there's this sort of backlash with people, you know, acting out, being rebellious, and doing certain things that are just super out of character, perhaps, for them. And that actually is normal. Even though it's out of character for them, it's actually normal, because this energy is pushing this out of us. It is coaxing it and surfacing it. So on a personal level, this is going to bring a sense of newness and inspiration to, and this is more on the positive side, because there's going to be both positive and negatives when it comes to Pluto in Aquarius, because it is the planet of death, destruction, and rebirth. The death and the destruction part usually don't feel that great, right? But are extremely necessary to create that fertile energy to allow and facilitate and support the rebirth. So on a more positive note, it's bringing the sense of newness and inspiration. So you may be also feeling that, of just this desire to do new things and to try different ways of living, and of wanting this newness within yourself, or within your life, or within certain or particular areas of your life. It's also going to be, it's also very creative energy. So it's also going to elevate the creativity within us, the innovation, and different ways to move forward in our lives, in all areas of our lives. So you might come up with, you know, new creative ways of like I said, changing your lifestyle, or just living on a daily basis, and figuring out what works for you, or a new exercise routine, a new way of eating. There are so many different things that are going to be elevated in our minds, and it's all going to be coming from the mind. But simultaneously, I'm going to encourage you to big time harmonize this with your heart, with your heart space. So the mind and the heart absolutely need to work in unison for these changes to really truly come about in an authentic way. Otherwise, if we're all just in the mind, which Aquarius rules the mind, then we're going to miss the point, or we're going to miss the true purpose of this destruction, of this death that is needing to happen. So the heart needs to be very, very much on board and very open, and we need to be making decisions from our heart and mind, and we're going to need to look at situations from our heart and mind when it comes to making big changes in our life. There will also be an urge to push limits, to challenge yourself, which is, I think, a wonderful thing. In today's society, I notice, and even within my own life, how incredibly comfortable we get with certain things. We you know, everything is about convenience nowadays. So there is definitely this level of comfort, this level of laziness that we actually have as a collective. We seek other people to kind of do things for us that really we should be doing for ourselves, you know, with all these drive-throughs and, you know, all of the just convenience stores, we even call them that. Like, there's just so many different things that we have that personally I think are ruining humanity instead of supporting and helping humanity, because it's making us lazier and more complacent than ever before. There also will be rebel energy that won't allow anything to hold you back or hold you down. Again, something I've been really feeling within myself. Definitely, I've always been a rebel, but the rebelliousness has kind of gone next level within me. And not in a negative way, but just in the sense of like, it's like this fire or this power that is rising within me. So it's like a rebellious power that is rising within me, and it's actually bringing me to front. Like, so it's like the old version of me that was complacent, that would accept difficult things, you know, and just kind of go with it because I didn't think I had the power to change it. You know, the more timid or the more introverted version of me is the part that has most definitely been dying down and falling away within me on an emotional, mental, spiritual level. And there has been this surge of power rising within me that I am now connecting to and just feel really good. Like I feel like it's just been missing in my life for a really long time. Again, I was raised with a lot of suppression, with a lot of oppression, so I definitely have been overcoming a lot of that and just really blossoming and opening up to my own power and recognizing that I have this immense amount of power within myself. So, which I think is a wonderful thing. Again, it has not been an easy process to go from that to who I've become now. But again, just, I wouldn't change it for the world. It has been absolutely life-changing for me, and I am a completely different person as a result. So, yeah, nothing. You're not going to be letting things hold you back anymore. You're not going to be letting people hold you back, or work, or, you know, other people's opinions or thoughts or suggestions or whatever else. There's just a reclaiming, a serious reclaiming of personal power with this energy, which I think is awesome. So inevitable transformation will leave us forever changed was the last thing I wrote down in my notes. And that, I feel, is really kind of one sentence that sums up this energy, because between now and the next 20 to 30 years, we are going to go through such incredible change individually and collectively, and our world is going to operate in a very, very different way, and that is inevitable, and it is also extremely necessary. So don't look at this energy as like, oh my gosh, you know, and don't fall into the fear trap of like, things are gonna, you know, die and fall away and everything's gonna change. Yes, everything is going to change. But if you really think about it, everything has been needing to be changed for a really, really long time. Our education system, our medical system, which, you know, Aquarius rules that. So major scientific exploration and medical exploration will be huge forefronts, you know, in the coming years. And I think we're really going to revamp those areas of life because our systems are extremely overloaded. They're not even, it's like we have sick care. We don't have health care. We have sick care currently. And there's an immense amount of people that are ill. And I know that 99% of the time that the people that are ill, and even clients that come to see me who have physical symptoms, are so much energetic symptoms. Actually, they're all energetic symptoms of a lack of purge, of a lack of emptying, and a buildup of this toxic energy, both mental, like toxic mental energy, toxic emotional energy, and toxic physical energy as well. So our food, how we produce food, and what kind of food we eat. These are all going to be things that we're going to really scrutinize and start looking at. And growing our own food is, I believe, something that we're going to start shifting back towards, and people are going to start recognizing and seeing, which we've already been kind of doing this and talking about this within my family. But people are going to really recognize how the foods that we eat are so toxic. Everything that is packaged and highly processed is really not serving the collective any longer. And we need to go back to that connection to Mother Earth, and back to, doing things the way that we used to, when we used to grow food, when every household had their own little garden and would grow a few little things, and people would trade food with each other. I grow this, you grow that, and then they would exchange. Like, these are the things that I feel that we're going to be shifting back to, because it is now necessary, because humanity has now reached a point of imbalance where it is no longer sustainable. It is just massively depleting the resources of this planet, and it's stupid and it is pointless. Like, why do we live in such ignorant ways when it is not necessary, when we have all of the knowledge, and we already have so much technology, and we'll be developing even more technology to improve these areas. So why would we keep doing things the same way that we have used to? And I think it's also going to be something that we will recognize, that there will be people who will oppose this change, who will be afraid of it. People that are very much living in fear are going to have a really difficult time with these changes, because change is what? Change is the unknown, and a lot of people are terrified of the unknown. And you know what? For the longest time, I was actually really afraid of the unknown as well, until Spirit showed me and taught me how to relax, and how to accept the unknown, and how to be free within the energy of the unknown, where you don't have to figure out every single step. You just have to figure out the next step, where you don't have to know exactly what's going to happen. You just need to know what's in your heart space, and what you desire to experience, and how you desire to live in a more balanced and healthy way. So there are a lot of changes this week, in particular in astrology, profound changes that we haven't experienced yet before, not together in this way. And this is a really positive thing. It is shifting us towards that much needed change that we have all been craving, but have been silent about. So I want to kind of leave you with the thought and this idea, and a knowing that everything that you are now choosing to change in your life is really going to be able to take root, and you're going to just be so much more motivated to have good things in your life. And don't be surprised if you feel really done with certain energies, with certain people, with certain ways of being and certain ways of living. This is all you transforming from the inside out. And we really are going to be changed forever. Like, I really can't emphasize, like, this transformation is absolutely inevitable. And I'm also going to just quickly suggest, don't resist the change. Don't resist the change, because it is necessary, and you know it. And it's not scary if you can trust in yourself, and place your trust in God and the universe, and know that the astrology and everything works in absolute harmony, and is meant to shift things in our life in a positive direction. Oh, right, and just one thing I was going to mention that I forgot earlier was that there was a dream that I had. I'm trying to think of when I had this dream. Several months ago now. I wrote it down in my journal because it was huge. It was significant. I remember waking up and just being like shocked. But I had this dream that I used to be a member of the College of Massage Therapists of Ontario. I was a massage therapist for 17 years. And I had the dream one day that the CMTO, the college, had completely dissolved, and there was absolute chaos, and everybody was, at the college's building in downtown Toronto and running around frantically, and they were all kind of looking at me and looking at each other, and everybody was asking, like, what do we do now? What's next? What's next? And I remember it's like I was just standing, those commercials where like a person is standing still and everyone's just like bustling and moving around them. That's exactly what it was in my dream. I was just standing still and everyone was in chaos and running around and trying to figure out what was going to happen. So I feel that was it felt like a predictive dream. I believe that our systems are going to break down. There are going to be many systems that are absolutely useless and don't serve humanity and don't serve the collective. And I believe those systems are going to fall away and break down. And yes, that will bring about some chaos, but I think it will be also very necessary, and we will see how much better it is without those certain systems once we're on the other side of that chaos. Because Pluto will be, like I said, destroying things that don't serve. It will expose shadows, how living constantly plugged in is bad for us and our well-being, both mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So even with technology, because Aquarius rules technology, there's going to be a lot of awakening and a lot of realizations around technology and how we use technology. So this overconsumption of data and of information, I believe, is absolutely toxic for the mind. It's just overload. I was feeling that this morning, actually, when I was doing my meditation. It was crazy. I was in meditation like for almost 2 hours. It's my meditations seem to be getting longer and longer. But it's just probably because the energies are so intense right now, and there's a lot of downloading that happens. And I literally felt, actually, during my meditation, like something was pulled out of my head. I felt like it was like this, like buzzing, like this chaos of like all these different voices of all this different information. And Spirit was showing me how toxic that was, and how much confusion it was creating within me, and how much disruption it was creating within me. And Spirit was asking me to unplug. It's like, stop watching excessive amounts of social media and videos and whatever. Just stop consuming excessive amounts of technology. So I'm going to leave you with that as a final note, and definitely think about that. How can you use technology in a more balanced way? Can you use your discernment when it comes to what you watch? And don't just mindlessly scroll. And there are so many idiotic just posts and people doing really stupid things, and no offense to them, but it is, I'm just gonna say it like it is. Like, there's just an immense amount of stupidity online, and we consume that, and our children consume that if we are not careful, and if we're not limiting the time, and if we're not taking that stuff away from them. So that's another thing to definitely consider. So that, I'm going to cut it off right there, otherwise I'm going to keep going. Thank you so much for watching, for liking, and for subscribing to my channel if you like this kind of content. And I most definitely encourage you to take some time to meditate today. And really, the energy is extremely powerful today. It's also a 22. It's the 22nd, so 22 is a master number. It's a master manifestor number. So it's an excellent day to really focus the mind on the new, on the fresh, on this rebellious new version of yourself that you desire to birth into this next 20-year cycle that we're just about to start. Have yourself a blessed day.